Pamela, I wanna delve into this point because this is very real estate related, very very relevant to things I deal with. I've had two interesting experiences recently, or
Mm,
interactions. Okay, one was I had been in conversation with a personal representative. She was waiting to get appointed. We were just, maintaining contact. Okay, because obviously she's not able to do anything yet, but just and usually that's what I do is I'm just trying to be as helpful as I can, with where they're at in the process. Well, people share different things with you, what they're comfortable with, right? And I didn't know too much about the details, right? And she finally got to the very end, and she called me up. She's like, "Jeremy, I want to meet. Let's do this, right? Let's do it." Okay.
mhm.
So I'm like, "Okay." And I've got my checklist. I've got my things that I'm going to do before I meet, the basic research I've got to do before I meet a potential client. And I always ask what I call the $1,000,000 question. Okay. I go, okay, if you were on a game show and you had to guess correctly for $1,000,000 what you think a buyer would realistically pay for this house today, what do you think that would be? And I just want to know where their head's at. It's not going to change my opinion. I just want to know where their head's at.
Mhm.
Okay, great. And how much is owed on the property? What kind of debt are we dealing with? Okay, great. So I get that. So I have kind of their expectation, and I have a sense of okay, what's owed on this property. And of course, that's what they know. But usually, the good thing about probate is usually it's already been discovered, right? They've already discovered, if there's any liens, judgments, or whatever. Usually, that's found. Now, not always. Sometimes something does come out of the woodwork, but usually we have a good handle of what's going on. That's not always
Mhm.
the case with, let's say, more traditional sales, where I've been very surprised at the last moment that there's an IRS lien when the title company calls me. We won't get into that. So, so I'm looking at this, doing the research, and I'm just like, there's no equity here. And I'm like, and then I'm running these scenarios. Okay, what if I did it for less, just to help her, right? Just to help her. What would that look like? And even if I got paid zero, there's not enough there. There's still a potential to have to come to the table with money at closing. So I call her up and I'm like, look, I'm really sorry. I've really looked at obviously, I would love to sell the house, right? So if I could do it,
Yeah.
I'd do it, but I'm like, "I'm sorry, I've really looked at this a lot of different ways. There's just no way that, you're gonna be able to sell this, with any profit at all. Even if I did it for free, you'd still have to bring money to closing." Now, here's the kicker in that. She had, as the personal representative, had put in money into the property. Okay. She had
Mm.
made several repairs that were expensive. She was putting money into the property and she was maintaining it in terms of maintaining mortgage payments, the carrying costs of the property. And I told her because she was devastated. I said, "Look, I go, you can talk to another agent. I would encourage you. Like, don't take my word for it. Just, talk to a few other people just so that you feel comfortable." But I mean, I already knew what the answer was. They're not going to say
Yeah.
anything different. And that was really devastating. And that just shows you the danger of, and that's why I actually like to, when I'm talking with personal representatives early on, I like to really get a sense of kind of where they are in position to the property in terms of like, what's this carrying cost? How much equity is there? Because, and I just had an email the other day from another person and they're like, should I pay the mortgage? Well, of course, I always tell them, talk to your attorney, I'm not
Sure.
here to give you legal advice, but I can't talk to them as a real estate broker. I mean, I can give them some general sense of guidance. And I was like, well, maybe it depends, right? It depends because, you know, how much equity is here, how much is owed on the property. Also, are you sure you're going to be appointed? You may not be appointed. You may not, it may not go the way you think it is. And so, you need to check with your attorney to see whether, in terms of you personally, what is your risk? What is your exposure? Right. And what I have found, Pamela, is that, a lot of people do not think it through, right? So exactly this point here, they're not thinking through like, okay, is there enough equity in the house? Okay, does it make sense for me to do whatever?